There are three major kings of high-speed off-road truck racing: trophy trucks, short course trucks, and stadium trucks. First up, the trophy truck. These are monsters of desert racing. They're built with massive suspension travel, oversized tires, tube chassis that can handle over 1,000 horsepower, and they're almost always V8s. They're made to fly over desert whoops at over 100 miles per hour, and they just keep going like nothing happened. Next up are short course trucks. These are designed for closed circuit dirt tracks. These things blend speed and control. With moderate suspension travel, realistic bodies, and a race-tuned feel, they dominate tight corners, big jumps, and technical layouts. And finally, the stadium truck. These guys are born for tight indoor arenas. They're light, nimble, and quick off the line. Think smaller tires, shorter suspension travel, and less horsepower, but a ton more agility. It's all about sharp turns and airtime in compact spaces. Three different types of off-road trucks, three different purposes, but all built to race.
Welcome back to the Shop Mini RC, everybody. I'm Ken, and today we're looking at a new Hosim truck. You can see it right up there, and you can see it right here. This is the M13. They're calling it the Moxlin. I don't know if you can see it on there, but we'll definitely look close when we get in there. M13 Moxlin. It's a 1/14 scale brushless 3S trophy truck, stadium truck. I guess it's more of a short course truck. I don't know. It's probably short course is how you probably define this guy. It's going to have double A arms and all that good stuff. We'll front and rear A arms, no trailing arms on this guy. But we were definitely going to dive into this guy. We'll check it out. It's got all kinds of cool features, metal gears, all kinds of good stuff. So stick around, find out what's in here. Let's go. So here we go. Like I said, the Hosim, power in your hands, 4-wheel drive, climbing ability. That's interesting. Brushless motor, metal oil shock absorbers, 2.4. I don't know why they say that anymore. Everything's a 2.4, long-lasting power rubber tires. Looks like we've got chrome steel here, 40CR chrome steel, helical tooth design for better bite in between gears. It's 4-wheel drive. There's some more information if you want to pause and look at it. There's a little bit more IFS in the front and rear, solid metal underbody, and some more stuff there. We'll throw up graphics on the screen. You can check those out. Yeah, looks like there's two colors actually. This one looks a little different. I don't know if it actually comes in two colors. I was only able to find one color. Maybe I don't know what's going on there. I don't know why this is purple or blue, like a dark blue. There's more of a green. I don't know. Let's see what one we got. We don't even know. Looks like the tealish color is what we got. Transmitter. Put the foam off. Throw that guy on there. It's nice that it comes with a foam wheel though. Looks like we got plenty of adjustability. Double A's. We'll get into that here in a minute. What else we got? Look at this little bag of goodies. This guy does come with another set of tires, which is cool because you rip through tires on 3S for sure. Another little goodie bag. Instruction manual, warranty cards, 1-year warranty, Hosim protection plan. That's always good to see. Support from the manufacturer is always good. Little 3S USB charger. I always recommend trying to get higher end chargers if you're going to be running a lot or you take RC serious. This is good if you've got nothing, but you should get a better charger. A little tool bag with some axle shaft pins and body clips, wheel nuts. I feel like there's something in here. Not just a bag, but a bag with more body clips and a brush, I guess, to brush the dirt off. Brush that dirt off your shoulder. So yeah, we got plenty of body clips. That's cool. Throw all this stuff in the bag here. Well, goodie bag. Let's go. That's kind of fun though. I dig that. It's a bunch of QR codes there on the manual if you want to check that stuff out. Their manual is pretty good though. It's nice and colored, which I really like that. Seems well laid out. Simple. It does show an exploded view, I believe. There we go, some exploded views there. So that's nice. You can see everything. Definitely good. And then a parts list, colored parts list. So that's awesome. Well, there are two different bodies. Look at that. Boom. Two different body shell colors. I only saw one for purchase, so I don't know if you have to get this one aftermarket. Maybe like just buying it separate, maybe as a replacement. Either way, tons of good stuff in here. Definitely check that out. These extra tires, I believe these are the same as what's on here. They don't feel very different. They feel just about the same stiffness. It would have been nice if these were like a softer compound. These are pretty stiff. But I think they'll be good on like the asphalt potentially. You might want a little softer if you're going to go in loose dirt, but they are very deep lugs, so I'm sure that'll do good on dirt too, just from the deep lugs. All right, got a zip tie on here. Get out of here, zip tie. Let's get the body clips off. Yeah. What? Light bar. Nice. I dig that. Does have a plastic film over it, so you're gonna have to peel that guy off. And then just be aware when you do this, you're probably gonna have to pull off some of the plastics here. Maybe we can get it off without pulling off the plastics. By the time these guys have plastics on there, you can't get the protecting cover off. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just loosen these up a little bit so we can pull the plastic out from underneath. You don't have to pull them all the way off, but just kind of loosening them will help a ton. They are Phillips heads. Bam, bam. Simple as that. You can tighten them back up. All right, so starting off with this body, I do love that there's tethered clips. This is like a must for me on bashers. I get so sick of losing clips and whatnot, so I always add tethered clips, but this guy comes with them, which is awesome. It's also got the sliders, the hard plastic roof sliders, and this light bar that's gonna help protect some when you flip it over. It's also slit here on the front, so I don't know if that's gonna help keep things cool, but there's a slit there on the front, and then these are also slit in the back here. So you can see there. Cut out. The thickness seems decent. It's not like super thick, but it does seem like it's nice and flexible, so that should be good. And then the paint quality is really good. I dig that. I'm kind of surprised it didn't come with any stickers. Did I miss stickers? No, there's no stickers anywhere. I love when they include extra little stickers. It's fun to see some of the phrases they throw on there and stuff. But yeah, we'll have to throw some of our stickers on there. We just got a new sticker pack for our channel members. Boom. All kinds of cool little bumper stickers and whatnot on there. Shot Mini RC stickers. Yeah, buddy. Here, let's go ahead and throw, what do we want? Do we want white? Red and white? I think we'll do red and white. Let's do red and white right here. Get it on there. Yeah. Smash them, crash them, and bash them. Let's go. All right. All stickered up. Shot Mini RC. Just going to send it. If driven carefully, please report stolen. No payment, no problems. You know, some fun stuff. One thing I noticed is that the print is a little off-centered. This is the center of the truck. You can see it's off-center, which that's really unfortunate. Kind of sucks. I hate when that happens. You can see it here, like even where the sticker is, right? There's stickers on the outside of that, and then it's there. And even more here on the window. You can see the window is pushed up. So we had to put the sticker under versus over, just because of where the window sits. So that's unfortunate, even on this, right? Like it's super off-centered. So that's unfortunate. But I mean, overall, it looks good. You probably wouldn't even notice unless you were trying to throw stickers on it. Honestly, I didn't notice it first until I went to do this window sticker here, and I was like, wait a second, what? Oh my gosh. But yeah, either way, looks good. It's a cool looking body for sure. I dig the style. And yeah, all right, let's dive into the truck. That's a big 3S there. Boom, 2200 3S. You're going to get like 40 minutes of runtime out of this guy. Nice. 3S. Does it have a C rating? I don't see a C rating on this guy. It is on a Dean's plug, so seems like a lot of these types of trucks come on Dean's plugs. I wish they'd just come with XT60s, seeing as how that's what most Chargers are kind of that's the standard now. This kind of used to be the standard back in the day, but you know, XT60 is a much better plug, so it'd be nice to see those, but not a big deal. I mean, you're charging it through the balance anyway with this charger, and again, most chargers or adapter plugs have a Dean's on it, so you're good there. Lots of cool red in here. I dig that. So these are metal. We got metal knuckles, metal C-hubs. That's cool. Metal shocks. Again, they're oil filled. Adjustable turnbuckles. I dig that. The A-arms themselves are plastic. This is all plastic. The center part is metal. So it's a metal chassis with the plastic on the outside, which I dig that design quite a bit. It gives rigidity down the center, which is important, but then, you know, a little bit of flex here. So if you bang on something or whatnot, you're good to go. Also, this bumper seems really nice and flexy, so that's good. You got a little bit of give there. Let's look at the rear. Adjustable rear turnbuckles, uppers, so you can adjust your camber. And again, metal dog bones. The rears are dog bones. You also have the metal hub carriers there. The fronts are a U-joint style, so you can see in there the U-joint. See that? But again, it's metal. It feels smooth. The diff feels smooth in there. Nice. Yeah, like I said, adjustable toe and camber on the front. Looks like we even have adjustable steering linkage here with a servo saver. Metal drag links there. Very cool. Decent sized servo, so it looks like you can use a little bit larger servo in there. It's not like a micro servo, so that's good. And our brushless motor here, it's a Hosim branded motor. It's the 2847. It says waterproof and all that goods. It's a 2100 kV motor. Metal center drive shaft, fan on the ESC, that's good. It does mention that there's metal motor gear in there. We'll have to look and see. I assume the diffs are all metal, all that. I think the transmission or spur gear here might be plastic. We'll look. I also, from the picture, it looks like it's not a slipper clutch. And it's definitely not a differential, but we can try to open that up and give it a look and see what's in there. And then again, nice heat sink on the ESC with the fan. It's a 45 amp ESC. So that's good. And it's 2S capable if you wanted to run 2S instead, get a big 2S and have a ton of runtime. Obviously, you're going to lose some performance there though, but it might be good if you have a kid that's going to run this, or you just want something a little slower. We'll see how fast this guy rips, but it should be pretty quick for what we've got here for the size. They're also claiming up to 80 kilometers an hour, which is right around 50 miles per hour. It's 49.7 or something like that. But yeah, 80 kilometers per hour. We'll see. We'll do a speed test with this guy. I do want to open this up, show you guys what that's about. We'll pull off a wheel up here so that we can measure the hub, just to make sure we know the hub size, the hex hub, and maybe open a diff. We'll see. Like I said, 4 AAAs in there. The transmitter feels okay-ish. It's a little light. It's definitely on the edge of toy grade and hobby grade. So do not pull the trigger while pairing. Oh no, that sucks. I hate when that happens, when they put like a sticker on something and then the sticker just kind of peels. Ugh, that sucks. Try to get this off carefully here. You can probably use heat, just a little bit of heat, help pull this off without. No, oh god. Well, we'll get it off. Let's go ahead and plug this guy in. Now, whenever I do this, yeah, we'll go ahead and plug it in. Whenever I do this, I usually do it off the table or flip it upside down, just in case there's something going on with the trims. Hello? I have to hold the button for just a second. There we go. Oh. Definitely got some spunk. Just a tiny delay in the throttle, it feels like, but nothing too bad. We've got our front steering trim. I believe front trim, left right trim, FR trim, or what is this? That's not doing anything for us. Let's see. PC trim. That doesn't seem to be doing much. And then LR trim, there's our left-right trim. Yeah, that's our steering trim. And then we have throttle reverse and steering reverse. I wonder if this is dual rate. Oh yeah, dual rate. PC is your dual rate. So you can see, you can turn that up and down. And then FR trim. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe that's throttle dual rate. Yep, that's throttle dual rate. So throttle dual rate, steering dual rate, and then your left and right trim. Yeah, you can slow this guy down significantly, or you can crank it up. All right, cool. Overall, the transmitter feels pretty good. Like just the way it feels in your hand feels comfortable. I've got larger hands though, so if you have small hands, it might be a little different feeling for you, but overall feels good. It's just very light. All right, I want to go ahead and do some measurements here. The battery box, we'll go ahead and measure the battery. It looks like it's 42.6 tall, 38.5 wide, and then 104.6, 104.7 long. One thing I noticed is the battery came in this way, right? But it will fit long way here. So like you can turn it sideways and get it lower by turning it, and that'll still fit. Just be aware of like your cables here. So maybe flip it this way actually. That way it's all towards the inside here. Maybe flip it this way. That might be a little better. Either way, looks good. It'll fit like that. And that'll just get you a little bit lower center of gravity there. Also, if you're looking for aftermarket batteries, again, your width, your max width here, looks like you're at like 42 and a half realistically. So 42 and a half by 104, 105. Let's see, how tight is this? Yeah, 104 and a half. And then you can go pretty tall. You can go the same as the width here, which is, 43, 42. You can probably even go taller. Just depends on your battery straps here, how much space we have to wrap the battery strap around. Yeah, you can go a little taller if you wanted to. You got plenty of strap. But yeah, I mean, overall, that's a good sized battery tray there. Our wheel hexes should be pretty standard, 11, 12 millimeter, Yep. Then our tires, or wheels, on the inside, it looks like you're going to need 44 and a half millimeters of clearance, more than likely. I mean, it looks like there's still a little bit of clearance other than right here on the steering link. That's going to be your tightest spot, which it usually is. So you're going to need at least that. I don't think you can go really any smaller. It's pretty much right there. 44. I mean, this is probably 45, 44, 45. Yeah. 44 and a half at least, maybe even 45s. The tire diameter, just so you know, we are right at 78, basically, 79. And the width, 31, 32. Yeah. We'll pull off a shock. We'll do measurements on that as well when we pull the shocks off and look at them. One thing I noticed is if you over tighten the rear here, it will definitely bind up. It's a little bit of extra tighten, and now we're nice and bound. So just keep that in mind. Do not over tighten your hexes here, your wheels. You need to keep it backed off just a little bit so that you're nice and free. And you want to check that with most RCs anyway. You just don't want to over tighten. I think the fronts are safe to go pretty tight though. The way it feels like it sits on the pin. Usually it's the way the hex sits on the axle shaft pin. If the hex is too thick, then sometimes it'll push the hex up against the bearing versus up against the axle shaft pin. So let's see on the front here. It also could be compressing the bearings. Yeah, same thing. You don't want to over tighten that. Just make sure you're nice and loose. Not so loose that your lug nuts will fall off, your wheel nuts, but just enough. All right, let's go ahead and start opening stuff up. One thing I did notice on this guy, it's all Phillips head hardware, which I really wish they'd go to hex hardware. I think this is getting to the price point where hex hardware should just be standard. So Hosim, switch to hex hardware if you really want to take it up a notch. People really hate Phillips heads. I mean, it almost is what puts you in toy grade is Phillips heads, just because it makes it so much harder to work on. Having a hex consistent, 1.5 millimeter, 2 millimeter, 2.5 millimeter, and something like this, staying in those ranges will be much easier. Now to get to this rear diff, or rear spur motor and spur gears, we're gonna have to pull off this whole center here, which I think is gonna be like 6 screws. So let me get in there and we'll see what we got. And see, this is exactly why Phillips head's no good. Like just on our second screw here, this is super tight and it already kind of stripped just a little bit. And we have multiple different driver sizes, so I made sure that we were in there nice and snug, but it didn't matter. It was super tight right here. And you got a little bit of strippage happening. And yeah, that's why I hate Phillips heads. Absolutely hate Phillips. But it is what it is. This one's nice and easy. Yeah, I don't know why that screw right there was so tight, but it was super, super tight. And then I think we got to pull these 3 screws here, which might cause issues with our steering. So we just got to be aware our steering doesn't fall apart here. It's spinning underneath. We might just be spinning underneath here. Yep, you can see it's just spinning. So you're definitely going to have to do a screwdriver on each side. That's kind of annoying. I don't like that the tray here is, you have to remove the entire tray to get access to this. It would have been nice just to have the tray a 2-part. You can unscrew it here or something. Maybe have this motor, the gear cover here, a separate piece. So this kind of, set on top, the motor case cover set on top, and you can just pull that off separately. I don't know. All right, let's go ahead and get this part apart. So really you just need to have the other driver underneath on that screw to prevent it from spinning just enough to loosen this guy. Once you break it loose, you don't really need to hold that other side. So we've got our 6 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this thing should pop right off. We can get to our entire center. It's not that bad. Again, it would be much easier if we had hex screws, but it is what it is. All right, so there's our pinion and spur. The spur gear is plastic here. It's nice. It is greased up. There's no slipper clutch or diff. It would have been nice to have this have at least a slipper clutch design of some sort. But again, this is kind of an entry-level RC. So for what you're getting, I think it's probably still a good deal. Again, I think it's going to be right around 2 something, but it's going to rip for sure. It's going to be quick and should be pretty durable. I'm hoping. The metal, it's a double-edged sword. It can be more durable, but then also creates a rigidity that can cause breakage elsewhere. And then when it's plastic, it's got a little bit of flex, but it's not technically quite as durable, but you do get a little flex. So I think it's just going to depend on how you wreck when you do wreck. But yeah, it's interesting they're using like a black grease in here. This motor mount is metal, so that's good. At least it feels metal. Maybe not. Maybe it just looks like oh no, it's metal. That's probably why that screw was so hard to get out. I think they Loctite it a little bit. Same with these guys. Looks like there's a little bit of Loctite on those. So just keep that in mind. That's probably what's going on there. All right, let's go ahead and I think we'll open up the rear diff here. It's a little bit easier to get to. This is a dog bone for the main drive shaft. So you can see there, traditional dog bone. There's bearings in there. That's good. Yeah, let's go and open up this rear diff. All right, to get to the rear diff, there's going to be 2 screws here. Then there's going to be 2 screws here underneath our links. You can see I pulled this one link out, single screw there, pulled that link out, able to get this screw to back out. Then there are these 2 screws here, which go all the way down through the bumper and into the diff cover, and then also 2 screws here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. And then if you have to remove these links here, you'll be able to do that with 2 more screws. Now I should be able to back these out, lift this up. There we go. I didn't have to pull this screw all the way out with this link, but this one was a little tight for some reason, so I went ahead and pulled that. Plus, you need to be able to get it off to pull this open here. And we're also going to pull off one shock here at the top so that we can just kind of fold this over. Another reason that I really dislike Phillips is because you always have to have lateral force going in and holding it in. So it's like it's harder to work on. Your hands get more tired. I know it seems small and petty maybe, but you know, when you're pulling out a bunch of Phillips head screws and you're constantly having to put force into the screw to be able to keep it from stripping, definitely wears on you. And you know, a hex head, you don't have to do that. A hex head, you can just stick it in and you can just unscrew it. All you have to worry about is rotational force. You don't have to worry about that lateral force. So just another reason why I really don't like Phillips heads. All right, so there you go. Pretty simple to get to that, nothing too crazy. Like I said, you just want to pull out one shock and one link. That way you can fold it over. And here's our whole diff. And this guy's nice and greased up as well. They're using some kind of black grease. I don't know what that's about. Most people use like a silicone. But yeah, so feels nice and greased up inside too. I guess we can try to open that up here in a second. I do want to go through and look at more of this. They are helical gears here, so that should help keep a smoother operation. Helical have like the curve to them, right? They're not just straight gears, or they're kind of come in at an angle. The dog bones here, we can go ahead and measure these just so we have some measurements. The rear dog bones anyway, they're 4 millimeters. And it looks like from pin to pin, center pin to center pin, you're going to be right at 52 and a half. And then those pins, 2 millimeters. Just in case you ever need replacements and you know you can't find them with Hosim, you should be able to find them with Hosim. They're good at supporting the product. But if you've got some laying around or whatever, you'll at least know the size. All right, let's go ahead and open up this diff. We'll check out the planetary gears and the sun gear. Again, it should be all metal, but I want to open it up. We'll see how greased up it is. Alrighty. There we go. So it's looking like it's the same black grease inside as they have outside. And then I assume that these are just sitting on a pin. Or is this a screw? No, there is a screw. There's a Phillips head screw in the center here to be able to unscrew your output shafts. So you'll be able to pull that out. You can pull out all your planetary gears and then change your output shafts if you needed to at some point. If anything happened there. All right. I definitely don't like this black grease. It's kind of messy for sure. I mean, all grease is messy, but this stuff just seems like it's getting everywhere. I don't know why they chose to go with it. Oh, geez. See what I mean? Anyway, all right, let me get this guy back together. We'll take a look at the shocks. I did want to mention that this diff housing here is plastic. So just make sure when you're tightening, you don't over tighten and strip it out or cause, binding inside the diff. Make sure you tighten them down, make them snug, but don't go too tight. And then obviously don't use Loctite. Loctite in plastic is bad news. It'll break the plastic down and you'll have some major problems. All right, seems okay. Man, this stuff is such a mess. You can always throw thicker grease in there if you want. Some really thick stuff we've got here if we wanted to thicken it up, even in the rear, just to kind of prevent yourself from, help with traction a little bit. It depends on how much you're turning and stuff and how you're trying to run the car. But some people like really thick grease in their diffs. Some people like them to be really loose. So it just kind of depends on how you like your truck to feel. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this back in and we'll get the shock. And I do want to mention that, electric drivers and stuff do definitely help with the Phillips heads. You just got to be careful not to strip them because you're under power. I don't know if you heard that just now. It just popped again. And you're kind of limited sometimes on your tips and whatnot. Just be careful when you're using power on Phillips heads. But at least it gets it most of the way, and then you can snug it up with a actual driver. And just make sure that you're nice and tight without stripping the Phillips head. But I do love this little guy. This is the Kaiweets. Yeah, Kaiweets. We got a video on this too if you want to check it out. Comes with a ton of different bits, long bits, short bits. Definitely digging it. It is meant for smaller guys, so it doesn't have tons of torque. I don't have enough torque to actually screw this down with power, but it does turn into basically a hardened driver when you're not using the power, so you can use it to get it real super snug. But awesome tool. So one more thing to point out, there is adjustability in the shocks, both in the shock tower as well as the control arm. So you have 2 mounts there and 2 mounts here. And really, you could maybe have a third. You can see over here, that's the hole for the body mount. You could just put a super long screw through there potentially. I don't know, maybe, but there's at least 2 that are meant for shock mounts, right? And then also your upper link here, you can see there's 2 mounts there, one here and one here for that turnbuckle. So that's nice that you're able to adjust those. Same on the front, there's 2 mounts for the turnbuckle there as well. So a good amount of adjustability, which is really nice. I don't see any way to adjust your caster, but you don't really need to do that on something like this. We do have metal pivot blocks here. I don't know if you can see there. Yep, yeah, right there. So that's good as well. All right, let's get into this shock. Let's see. We're oil filled. I just want to kind of see how it's put together. See what our shock stack looks like. Actually, let's see if it's in the book. Sometimes they have exploded views of the shocks, but not always, because usually you end up buying. There's the shock. You end up buying the entire shock. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's exploded views for the shock. So we'll go ahead and open it up and see what the stack looks like, our seal. These feel decent. I feel like they are kind of rubbing on the spring somewhere. Something feels a little chunky in there. Hold on. Let's go ahead and pull this shock retainer off. Oh yeah, there's something in there. I don't know if that's bubbles, but I can feel a little clickiness in there. It's like click, 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 click. Are they all like that, I wonder? No? Oh, maybe. It's hard to tell when they're installed. Could also just be air bubbles, so we'll open it up, we'll see. I do like that it's all aluminum. That's nice. The plastic link ends, though, are also nice. I've noticed that when you have metal ends on these, you tend to bend your shock shafts more. This, like I said before, the plastic kind of gives you a little bit of give. So when you hit real hard, this plastic up here will flex a little bit. So that's always super nice to have. All right, so we got our plastic end here, aluminum cap. Looks like we do have a little, oh yeah, there's a lot of bubbles in there. We do got our little seal in here to help prevent cavitation, which is interesting. There's so many bubbles in there. I wonder if they just were not filled all the way. There's some pretty thick shock oil in there, it looks like. It's pretty thick. So yeah, it's definitely smooth now. It's got to be just the bubbles that I was feeling. Let's see. Kind of looks like it's just a nut on the end. I'd like to see what the actual seal is in there, the bypass. We'll go ahead and just use some shock pliers here. This helps prevent marring on your shaft because it's a softer aluminum. So you can use those and then pull your end off here. Also, when you're pulling your shock shaft out of the housing, make sure you decompress all your O-rings in your seal stack here. You want to take this off because if you leave that on there nice and tight and you push this through and pull it out, the threading could tear your O-rings up. So always pull this up so that you decompress your stack seal here, seal stack, whatever. Let you pull off your bushings, and then you're able to, oh, there it goes. Yeah, we're gonna have to re-oil these, but it'll let you pull your shaft through without damaging your O-rings. Let's see here, we've got 1 O-ring or 2. Usually you want to have 2. It helps prevent leaks. Well, we have 3 O-rings. So the entire stack, seal stack, is 3 O-rings and then a bushing. A lot of times you'll see like a outer bushing for the cap, then you'll see an O-ring, then an inner bushing, then an O-ring, and then maybe another bushing. Usually not though, usually just an O-ring. But usually they're separated, the 2 O-rings are separated by a bushing, and these are definitely just 3 O-rings. But that should still be good. Shouldn't see much leaking here. Also should help prevent binding in the shaft. They definitely have some thicker oil in this, so we're gonna have to get some thick oil back in there. Okay. And then our valve here. It looks like we've got a couple little different bypass slots. 5 of them. 1, 2, yeah, 5. And then it looks like it's just a nut on the end of the shaft holding that together. Okay. So we'll go ahead and put our shock shaft back through. Again, you don't want to tear up your O-ring, so just be careful. And then we can get our bushing, our cap bushing on there. And then we can go ahead and get our cap back on. We'll put our link end on, and then we'll go ahead and fill it back up with some nice thick oil and try to see if it's smooth again without some air bubbles. Try to make sure we don't get any air bubbles in there. With this kind of cap on here, it's a little rubber valve, rubber bushing, whatever you want to call this piece. I'm spacing out right now, but with that, you can go ahead and fill your oil all the way up until it meets this, and then you'll have, the compression can help push in, and that allows you to fully compress without it pushing itself back out too much, because you want the spring to do that work, not just your shock oil. All right, let me get this back together. So we're going to go ahead and use some TLR shock oil. This is 100 weight, pretty thick stuff. Should be very similar to what was already in there. And we'll go ahead and do the other shock as well. That way, at least our 2 rear shocks are going to be similar, just in case our oil is a little different. It's hard to tell, but yeah, it seems like it's going to be the same, so I'm okay. But make sure you get all the bubbles out. So go ahead and fill your shock pretty much almost all the way up, and then, move your shaft so that all the bubbles come all the way out. And then you can go ahead and kind of compress your shock shaft, put your rubber little bushing in there, and then go ahead and get your cap back on. You'll see it push out just a little bit, but it should be nice and golden there. Some people don't like to compress it all the way. You can compress it most of the way. You just want to make sure there's no air in there, and then you can, again, adjust it accordingly. You don't really want it to suck itself back in. You want it to be pretty much not pushing in or out by itself at all. You can see it pushes out a little bit when we fully compress. I think that's because it's hitting on that rubber, little rubber grommet, and then it pulls in just a tiniest bit, but I think we're okay here. Go ahead and put our spring back on and our spring retainer. And then I'll go ahead and measure these guys for you. Oh yeah, I don't feel that little crunch anymore, so that's good. Yeah, it was definitely air bubbles. I mean, it was filled with oil, but, when you have elevation change and going overseas and all that kind of stuff, it can kind of mess with the tuning. So it never hurts to kind of check yourself. All right, let's get this measured. Looks like the shock length is going to be right at 67, 68. Yeah, we're going to be right at 68 millimeters for the shocks from eye to eye. And then our diameter, just so you know, the diameter of the housing here for clearance here at 16 millimeters. Or shock shaft, just because I'm curious. 3.5 millimeter shock shaft, so pretty stout. Should be good. Awesome, let's get this guy back on. All right, guys, I want to go ahead and just blow through some comparisons here. Obviously, we've got the Hosim here. It's the only blue one. And then we've got the High Boxing or HBX 3100A. We've got the Arma Grom, the Mojave. And then we've got the JJRC, which is the Rapid or the Q130 and Q130B. And I believe they use this on a couple different bodies. But these are all the trophy truck or stadium truck or short course truck, however you want to look at these guys. These are all going to be kind of the double A-arm setup, front and rear, except for this guy is a trailing arm setup, so a little bit more scale when it comes to actual trophy truck. But it's more about the size, just comparing the size and some of the differences. You can see this guy's pretty bouncy, doesn't have oil-filled shocks. Again, this is a very budget RC. And then the Grom is nice and squishy. I think we have upgraded shocks on here, though. We do, but it's the same. These are a little bit more tunable, is the only difference. Then we've got this guy, nice and squishy, and then this guy here, nice and squishy as well. One thing you'll notice, this is the widest of all of them, and these are all considered 1/14ths, except the Grom, I believe they're calling a 1/16th, but these are definitely considered 1/14ths. It's listed on the sites, and this guy's a 1/14th. So the widest of all of them, you can kind of see how different that is, how wide, difference of width there. Okay, so it's not just the tires, it's also the actual stance, the control arms. See quite a bit on the Grom. And then the JJRC is about the same width. Problem with the JJRC is the body needs to be wider, because you can see here we're hitting on the body. We don't get full compression out of it. It's one of my complaints in this video on this guy. I wish that they would have tucked it in more or given us a little bit larger body. And I think that's what they needed to do, what they did here. This body's just a little wider. You can see the width there. And that gives them the ability to basically, it'll still rub a little, but you get way more compression. I mean, you almost get full compression here before you rub. That's full compression, so it just barely pushes up on the body. The body doesn't stop it from fully compressing. The rear's a little different. The rear does need a little bit more space. We might end up going through and just trimming this out a little bit, or it'll just wear itself in. Whatever, we'll see. But I mean, of these two, obviously this one's way better as far as how it fits. So that's good. Tires look like they're about the same diameter on these two. Obviously the Grom's much smaller when it comes to tires. And then the high boxing, just a little bit smaller. Okay. So anyway, just some size comparisons. The lengths are almost all the same on these guys, which is interesting. This guy's I think this guy's the most proportionate. But again, it depends on what you're going for. A short course truck is going to be a lot more wide, like this. So this is definitely more of a short course proportions, whereas this is definitely more of a trophy truck proportions. A little bit longer, thinner, you know. Anyway, let's go ahead and check out some other stuff to compare it to. Boom. So we have our Arma set in here. We're broken, unfortunately. Look at that. Oh no, we hit a mailbox real hard. Well, we hit a curb, like a little, rampy curb, which wasn't a problem until we went in the air and couldn't turn anymore because our front end wasn't touching and the rear just nailed the mailbox. Anyway, so it's a nice big 10th scale or 8th scale, I guess. That's what they'd consider this. I think they officially call it a 10th scale, but it's kind of a big 10th scale. And then we got the little FMS here. This is the FMS Chaser. It's an actual trailing arm rig, so like a trophy truck. But it's kind of wider and shorter like a short course truck. So it seems like all these manufacturers, they've all got confusions on what short course versus trophy versus whatever. I think this is the most accurate short course setup, just from the proportions and the fact that it's not trailing arms. The proportions of this guy definitely short course, but it's got trailing arms, which is more like a trophy truck. And they all kind of blend and bleed together. It just depends, I guess, on the truck itself, the individual truck, because some trucks are run very different than others. So it just depends. Either way, tell me what you think down in the comments below between the three different trucks: short course, stadium super trucks, and trophy trucks, and just have a little discussion down in the comments. Keep it simple, guys. Another thing, I actually, these vents, just so you guys know, it's not for cooling as much. That could do it, but it's more for anti-parachute. So when you're jumping and you're flying through the air, you actually want to drop as quickly as possible because you want to maintain traction. So having the vents here in the front and especially in the rear here will help prevent the truck from parachuting. As the air gets caught in there, it'll just come out and it helps the truck drop faster. Just want to throw that in there. Anyway, size comparisons there. You can see this is supposed to be a 1/18th, I believe, or they call it a 1/24, 1/18th. Either way, much smaller, and then the 1/10th is much bigger. We also have some other trucks to compare. Here's a Rogue One. This is the Rollarlo Rogue One. Now these are, more monster trucks than they are trophy trucks, but you can kind of see the difference. This is the EZRC or FMS Colorado, and these two are very similar. A little bit shorter wheelbase. A little bit. This guy's just a little smaller, but you can see just from a comparison standpoint. If you guys have any of these trucks, it'll give you a good idea just how big this Hosim is. Okay. Very cool. All right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and run this, get some speed tests, and put it on the dirt. All right, guys, lights are on. They're kind of like an orangish colored light, which is kind of cool. They're not just regular white lights. We got our timer here. Track, start, not timer, but our GPS. Let's rip it real quick. Our trim's messed up. Hold on. All right, I think our trim's good. Up this way, and we'll rip it back. We'll bring it in and see what our speed is. Brakes feel good. Sometimes the brakes are just too much. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Did you see that? I mean, that was good. I was like full slam on those brakes. Sorry for the wind, guys. What do we get? What do we get? 38? That's not 50. Maybe we try again. I mean, I don't think we're going to get anywhere close to 50. That's going to be rough. Read 39. So, 38 and 39. Seems about it. That's about it. Oh man, it's so hard to see on there. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Looks like 39's the best we're getting right now. It is a super fun little ripper, though. I mean, it's actually pretty stable too. When I hit that, oh well, of course, part of it's just my bad driving. Oh. Oh, oh no. Hopefully, truck's fine. Truck's fine? Yeah. Let's go. I think we need to take it on the dirt. We need to take it on the dirt.
scream. It ain't just a toy, it's a full-blown machine. Short course ripper, born to fly. Dirt in the air, rubber to sky. Throttle wide, hold the line. Carving corners like it's racing time. Shock the ground, leaving marks. This beast was built for RC parks. Crack the throttle, hear it roar. Brushless rage begging for more. Grip the dirt, feel the scream. This ain't a game, it's M13. Moxlin's flying, dirt in the air. Jump so high, we don't even care. False and loud, built to be mean. Hosim power, M13. Fast, fierce, ripping the ground. Tear it up when that brushless sounds. One truck, one dream. Hosim Moxlin M13. Rips like thunder, strong like steel. Taking hits, still grips that wheel. Brushless Bernie, SC lit. High speed torque, never quits. Gravel flies and the crowd leans in. Watching that rig go tail out grin. Short course fire in a 14 scale. When the Moxlin runs, it leaves a trail. Moxlin's flying, dirt in the air. Jump so high, we don't even care. False and loud, built to be mean. Hosim power, M13.
All right, guys, there it is. This thing is fun. It's durable. We beat it up pretty good. We hit some stuff. We hit a mailbox. We hit my truck. We hit the fence. We hit some other stuff I didn't get on film, but yeah, no, it is what it is. And nothing wrong. Like a tank. There's even a huge chunk, a gouge, not really a chunk, a gouge in the A-arm right there. The control arm got nailed real hard. Oh, there's one over here too on this side. But again, they're just little gouges. Nothing broke. Nothing's bent. I mean, little beast for sure. This thing's awesome. Super fun. I don't know why we couldn't get it to the 50 miles per hour. There was some wind. Maybe the wind had something to do with it. Maybe I just didn't have enough running area because we don't have the longest street. But I figured we should be able to hit 50, but maybe not. Maybe we need a little longer runway. Either way, plenty fast. Plenty fast. The 3S is awesome. Tires are holding up good. I think as they break in, they'll just get better and better. You know, they're a little stiff, but you know, as you run it more, they'll soften up. So I think that's going to be good for sure. Like I said, no issues, nothing broken. The body's held up well. No like chips in the paint or cracks in the Lexan. Awesome truck overall. So great job to Hosim. This M13 is sweet. The Moxlin M13. Yeah, sweet rig. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you comment down below. The Moxlin's on fire. Something like that. Let us know you saw the whole video all the way to the end. This Moxlin, cool. And yeah, a big shout out to all these channel members here. These guys are awesome. They help support the channel above and beyond just subscribing. Although subscribing is a huge thing for us. We appreciate all of our subscribers. There's like only 40% of the people that view the channel subscribe. And I see the returning views. We have tons of people return. Just hit that subscribe button. That way you know when new videos come up. But all these channel members, they get to see videos early before anybody else when I can do it. They get behind the scenes videos every once in a while. They also have access in our Discord, which anybody can join the Discord down in the description below. But channel members have a special channel in there so they can chat with me if they want. Easy access to me and whatnot, like things like that. You know, just asking questions, need help with stuff or suggestions for the channel, stuff like that. They have my ear. They also get priority comment replies. And yeah, there's other stuff. You know, it's the highest level gets stickers sent out, which with these guys, we showed them. So definitely if you want to support the channel, that's a good way to do it. And I really appreciate everybody who does. But again, just clicking that subscribe button, just a click for you, but means the world to me. Also those likes, shares, and I love the conversation and comments down below. So definitely put some comments down below. I think I've replied to every single comment on the channel, and there's like tens of thousands of comments since we started, and I've replied to all of them, every single one of them. I'm not gonna be able to do that forever. I keep saying it, but I keep doing it. And like I said, I love the conversation, so I love to reply and engage with the community. So huge shout out to everybody who engages in the RC community and engages with the channel. It's a big deal, and it's a big part of what makes RC awesome is getting out there and building cars, building courses, building communities. Just keeps growing the segment and getting new people involved, and it's a great outlet for all ages. And yeah, I love to see it. So get out there and do those things: car, course, and community, and then smash it, crash it, and bash it. But don't break the expensive parts. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Moxlin